The husband who once promised to love me for a lifetime, he betrayed me. I saw him getting intimate with her in the car. I didn't feel sad at all. Instead, I just pressed the accelerator. I crashed into them. Unfortunately, they only sustained minor injuries. Otherwise, I would rather spend the rest of my life in prison. My husband was so scared that he knelt down and begged for my forgiveness. He said, "Wife, I was drunk that day. I mistook her for you. Please, don't do anything foolish. And don't divorce me." I didn't say a word. I directly took out the records of their many hotel stays. After a while, he wiped away his tears and calmly said, "If you insist on getting a divorce, you can forget about getting any of the assets. The child will also belong to me. I find this very ironic. I don't care about your assets. I just want to get back what I deserve. The custody of the child must belong to me. It was you who made the mistake first. What you deserve. Although the company has your share, you have no assets under your name at all." I realized it immediately. He transferred the assets. I finally mustered the courage to look him in the eye and said, "Liam, we have been married for 5 years after all. How could you do this to me?" He replied, "Evelyn, which man doesn't make mistakes? I swear, from now on I will completely cut off ties with that girl. As long as you are willing, we can still be as affectionate as before." I looked at Liam in front of me. I could hardly recognize him. The vows we made when we got married back then, this is simply a joke. I pushed him away forcefully. I raised my hand and slapped him. I originally wanted to leave directly. He pulled me upstairs directly. His tone was very impolite. "Evelyn, have I been too good to you all these years? I only made one mistake. Do you really have to be like this? I offered you a way out, but you wouldn't take it. Then don't blame me for being impolite. You are truly excessive. I really misjudged you. Let go of me." He listened. He said with a smile, "Let go. I will never let you go in this lifetime." Then he closed the door. "Say it. Every time I try to get close to you, you reject me. You can't meet my needs. Do you think you're so noble? You're not a virtuous woman at all. You're just someone insignificant." He lunged at me. "Say it. I don't despise you, so don't despise me either. Today, let's just pretend we're young again." I kicked him with all my strength in the groin. I pushed him away. He covered his groin in pain. He gritted his teeth and said, "Run away. Let's see how far you can run. Without money, you can't go anywhere. Evelyn, you forced me to do this in the end." The angry voice echoed in my ears. It gradually faded away only after I escaped the villa. Looking up at the blue sky, I sighed helplessly. Like accepting my fate, I dialed that number I had long blocked. "You win." Very soon, a Maybach arrived right on time. I opened the car door and got in. My gaze fell on the man in front of me. He was still handsome, but now he had a more mature charm. Time seemed to treat him especially well. "Drive," the man said in a deep voice as the car started. The driver instinctively raised the partition. The man suddenly pulled me close to him. "Speak. Accept the bet and take the loss." He suddenly lunged at me like a hungry wolf and kissed me. I instinctively wanted to break free from his embrace. "He has already betrayed you. What are you still holding on to?" Enticing words echoed in my ears. I slowly responded to him. Then I boldly wrapped my arms around his neck. His kissing skills were still proficient, but I didn't like it in my heart. He pulled me into his private estate. He said to me, "You can stay here for now. If you need anything, just tell Auntie Zhu. I'm just staying temporarily. No need to be so troublesome. Evelyn, since you lost, you have to accept it. Do you still want to hide?" The man spoke coldly, no longer gentle. He was angry again. I didn't look at him. I said calmly, "Oliver, even though I lost, we can never be together." His expression changed immediately. He questioned me. "Then why did you respond to me in the car before?" "It's quite simple. Liam had an affair. If I don't do this, I always feel like I'm betraying myself." He looked very upset. He let out a low hum. "Speak. I have all the time in the world. Until you willingly stay by my side." I smiled slightly. He is still as self-righteous as before. I stayed at his private estate for a few days. I finally received the call I had been waiting for. We arranged to meet at a cafe. I saw them, just like in the last life. They appeared so noble and elegant, no one knows. I have already lived 2 lives. In my last life, I chose Oliver. It ended up a complete mess. I didn't expect to choose Liam this time. Still lost thoroughly. Rather, I should hold on to them tightly. Let them pave a bright path for me. I took out that photo. I whispered, "It really is Sophie." They held me tightly. Tears flowed uncontrollably. I also reached out to embrace them. I choked as I spoke. "Mom and Dad, I knew I was not abandoned. After a long while, They finally came to their senses. Of course you aren't. It's all Mom's fault. For losing you. For making you suffer a lot. They brought me back to New York. Although Oliver is powerful in Los Angeles, a strong dragon cannot overpower a local snake. He couldn't take me away. Angrily shouted. Why? I treated you so well. How could you still not forget Liam? Do you feel good about that? That's because you didn't get me. In the last life, you chose me as a substitute because you couldn't have your white moonlight. Later, the white moonlight changed her mind. Bai Yueguang has changed her mind. But she doesn't even look at me, leaving me to spend my life all alone. What's even more outrageous is, she even asked me to donate bone marrow to save her white moonlight. I let out a cold laugh. If Lily comes back, will you still come looking for me? Oliver was taken aback. He must be wondering how I know about Lily. After all, Lily was the goddess in his heart during high school. I only met him in college. If he really wanted to keep it from me, I would have no idea at all. Just like in my past life when I thought I married for love, only to find out I was just a substitute. Oliver, this person, would rather hurt others himself than let others hurt him. He asked, when did you find out about her? Who told you? I and her. That's all in the past now. Right now, the one I love the most is you. I don't care that you were married to Liam. You shouldn't care about her either. He gently took my hand and explained to me in a soft tone. I saw him put aside his pride to explain things to me. Yet I felt unusually calm inside. If it were in the past, I might have been moved to tears long ago. I might have forgiven him. I shook off his hand. I said coldly, Lily is coming back soon. You should go find her. Don't bother me again. After Lily's divorce, she came looking for Oliver just a few days later. He was just about to get closer when my bodyguard blocked him. Evelyn, whether you believe it or not, I have only loved you in this life. The love you speak of is actually just an obsession with yourself and what you cannot have. Mom, I made a bamboo helicopter today. Do you think it looks pretty? She is probably my only comfort now, to live once again. I still chose the wrong person. Fortunately, I have this lovely baby now. Liam is probably looking for her everywhere right now, although he's not very reliable, but he really is a good father. I took her bamboo dragonfly. He asked, Kathy, who made this bamboo dragonfly for you? It looks too delicate. It doesn't seem like something a 5-year-old could make. It was made by this big brother. I looked in the direction she pointed. A boy around 20 years old. He has a handsome appearance, but he gives off an unreachable vibe. He must attract quite a few young girls when he smiles. The little girl pointed at the lady next to her and said, Big brother, this is my mom. Isn't she beautiful? I wasn't lying, was I? Kathy has been a beauty enthusiast since childhood. She gets especially enthusiastic when she sees good-looking people. She directly pulled me over to introduce. I already knew your mom was beautiful. Otherwise, how could she have given birth to such a lovely baby like you? The boy squatted down. Speak to me softly. I smiled shyly. Wife, you're walking too fast. I almost couldn't keep up with you. Liam's gentle voice came from behind. Others might think we're a very loving couple. Oh no, I didn't bring a bodyguard this time. I quickly pulled Kathy behind me. I asked warily, what do you want to do? I'm here to take you home. He smiled. He said gently, Kathy, come to Daddy. I'm not going. You're a bad person. You bully Mommy. Daddy is the bad person. I didn't raise her for nothing. At the critical moment, she still stood by my side. Seeing he couldn't convince me, he simply decided to take action and grab her. Come home with Daddy. Daddy will explain it to you. Mommy is the one who's wrong. Liam, let go. You'll scare the child like this. Kathy was so frightened by his fierce look that she wet her pants. Dad, it hurts. The boy next to him couldn't stand it anymore. He pushed Liam a little. The child has already said it hurts. Why don't you stop? This is our family's matter. It has nothing to do with you. Just get away. Liam no longer hid his feelings. He completely revealed his true self. Seeing that he couldn't win, he simply acted like a rogue. You heartless person. You were caught cheating, and you still want to beat me with that person. I only want my daughter. I don't want anything else. Please just give me my daughter back. It seems like the woman was caught cheating. This is really too much. The man is really pitiful. He looks like a decent person. Liam cried and complained. The daughter might not even be his. This action attracted a lot of onlookers. Everyone took out their phones to take pictures. We suddenly became the center of attention in the park. That guy is very attentive. He immediately stood behind us to prevent any unidentified person from taking pictures and posting them online. Tell me about it. What's going on? Liam's strange behavior got me taken into the interrogation room. The officer's tone carried a hint of sarcasm. It seemed they had already assumed I had an inappropriate relationship with that young man. I took a deep breath and said, "Let me make a call. Making a call won't help. You're over 30 and still having an affair with someone in their 20s. Why let your family find out? It's better to settle things directly. That man is quite reasonable. You can hand your daughter over to him. Then the issue will be resolved." "Exactly. You were the one who made the mistake first. Your daughter has a mother like you. She won't have a good future either." Surprisingly, the 3 police officers in the interrogation room all unanimously supported Liam. I said coldly, "Give me the phone. Otherwise, you will definitely regret it." The leading fat police officer listened and couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Oh, I will regret it. I think you're the one who will regret it. With such a good husband like Liam, and yet you still cheat." The other 2 also started laughing. The interrogation room was filled with laughter. "Who did you catch?" A dusty, middle-aged man rushed into the interrogation room. It seemed he was their superior. They put away their joking expressions and asked in confusion, "Does this woman have some special background?" Then he added, "No, we're asking about the man who was with her. Where have you locked him up?" The fat police officer relaxed and said, "Next door. You all have really stirred up a big trouble now." Seeing the boss looking flustered, the 3 of them were instantly stunned in place, not knowing what to do. I chuckled softly. It seems Liam has brought this trouble upon himself. The people in the police station seemed to be afraid of him, and I, because of my connection to him. The 3 of them were treated like VIPs. "Director, those 3 over there are not really fit to be police officers." I also took the opportunity to assert some authority before I left. The boy not only didn't get angry, but instead smiled. He said, "We think alike. I also think those 3, and the few who interrogated me, are all not suitable to be police officers. Yes, I will deal with them later. It's not a simple handling. It's about making sure they can never offend again." The director nodded, indicating that he understood. I was a bit surprised. He actually decided their future so easily with just a few words. "She appears very well behaved on the outside, but inside, she is somewhat cold." She said to the other party, "Your daughter is currently in my car. Don't worry." I thought Kathy had already been picked up by Liam. I didn't expect she was still here. "I'm quite happy about it." I said thank you. "What is your name?" Evelyn originally planned to take Kathy out, but he pushed me into the car instead. Seeing my puzzled expression, he smiled and said, "It's on the way, Uncle, Auntie. Long time no see." It turns out he is the nephew Matthew that my parents often mentioned, who has good grades and character. Dad gently patted his shoulder and asked, "Matthew, why did you suddenly come back to the country? You didn't even let us know in advance." I heard my cousin had news, so I hurried over to take a look. He glanced at me when he said this. I suddenly felt a bit guilty. "Strange. How did you all come back together? Have we met before?" Mom finally understands. "It's someone I met outside." A casual remark from me interrupted what he was originally going to say. He didn't expose me. After I put Kathy to sleep, I found him smoking outside. It seemed like he was waiting for me. "Is Kathy my daughter? You? What nonsense are you talking? I'm your cousin." His words surprised me. I immediately criticized him. He extinguished the cigarette. "Speak. Uncle and Auntie never told you. Am I adopted?" I instinctively shook my head. "Even if you are adopted, you can't just say anything. 5 years ago, I was drugged. I met a woman on the way. I spent a night with her. Although I don't remember what she looked like, but I remember this necklace." He slowly walked closer to me as he spoke. "The timing matches. The necklace is identical. Even the appearance is a complete match. What else do you have to deny?" His deep eyes were fixed on me. It felt like he could see right through me. I felt flustered under his gaze. I said a bit nervously, "I don't understand what you're saying." Fortunately, Auntie Zhu arrived at that moment. Otherwise, I might not have been able to hold on. Back then, I thought he was so honest. In fact, he was as fierce as a tiger. But at that time, the one by my side was Liam. Kathy does resemble him a bit. This is the paternity test report. What else do you need to explain? The next day, Matthew came to find me again. I didn't expect him to act so quickly. I looked at the 999 on the paternity test. My last bit of hope was completely shattered. The person from 5 years ago is not Liam. It's him. I looked up at him. My face slowly matched that of the man from 5 years ago. That year, Oliver's friend tried to please him, gave me a drug, trying to get me into his bed. In the end, I escaped. I ran into a man. Later, we found out that both of us had been drugged. We helped each other to counteract the effects of the drugs. To my surprise, I got pregnant after just one time. I married Liam because I was pregnant. He later told me, that incident was just an accident. Don't take it too seriously. Can you not take Kathy away? She's all I have left. I lowered my stance, because I understood that this man in front of me was not easy to deal with. He didn't say a word. Suddenly, he pulled me close to him and kissed me. This kiss felt neither forceful like Oliver's, nor careful like Liam's. It was just a gentle kiss, but it was filled with joy and warmth. After a while, he gently moved his lips away and said to me, "Don't worry, I won't compete with you for Kathy. We'll take care of her together. Okay?" He looked at me with some confusion, then said, "I have been looking for you. Actually, I already had some feelings for you that night. Now that I've met you again, I can be sure. It's not just a bit, it's that I really like you." I replied, "You're only 25. I'm already in my 30s. In my eyes, you are, like a younger brother." This is the first time I've encountered such a sincere confession. It makes me a bit embarrassed. When Oliver confessed to me before, it always came with a bit of dominance. It often made me feel uncomfortable. Liam was even more so. He didn't even make a proper confession, see. I rejected him. He moved a little closer. "Say it. You're lying. When I kissed you just now, you were clearly moved. Say it again. It's only been 10 years. What's there to be afraid of?" He gently patted my head and smiled as he said, "If you think I'm unreliable, feel free to tell Uncle and Auntie. They will definitely side with you. Help me teach them a lesson. I've actually been controlled by my younger brother who's 10 years younger than me. I simply can't resist his approach." Just then, my phone rang. It was Oliver calling. I forgot to block him. What's up? Isn't he with the person he likes right now? Why is he bothering me again? Hearing my unfriendly response, he tried to control his anger. He said, "Liam is dealing with your sister and your parents. Almost let them. Please don't get involved. Just let them go." I hung up the phone, put the number back on the blacklist. Who called? Matthew laughed again. "Speak. Harassment call. Really surprising." I thought Oliver was busy reminiscing with his old flame. Didn't expect him to come personally to propose. "Sophie, you're here," my mom and I heard Oliver say. "You two dated in college." I suddenly didn't know what to say. How long has it been since that happened? Why bring it up again? Oliver is still trying to act like a good young man. "Speak, Uncle." We were too young back then, very impulsive. Misunderstandings weren't resolved in time. As a result, we naively made a bet. We said if the person she marries isn't good, she agreed to marry me. "Sophie, if you gamble, you must accept defeat. Dad seems to believe it," he said with a smile. "I did lose, but we only bet on whether he is a good person. I never said I would marry you. That was all you saying it." My serious attitude made my parents feel awkward. Indeed, Oliver toned down his strong personality. Plus, he is quite handsome. He comes from a wealthy family in the eyes of the elders. He is the perfect son-in-law. "Evelyn, I know you are still mad at me for making you marry that guy. Mom and Dad, let him go. He already has someone he likes. That's the one he has always liked." I saw him still pretending. He immediately took out a photo of his ideal girl. "Look at this. Doesn't she look a lot like me?" Actually, he has always seen me as her substitute. I took the chance to hide in my mother's arms. I pretended to be very hurt. They saw this situation. They immediately issued an eviction order. They didn't even give Oliver a chance to explain. Fortunately, he didn't bring a bodyguard today. I successfully threw him and his gift out. It was really satisfying. I've never seen him look so disheveled. "Evelyn, you will definitely regret this." I had the guard close the door. The world finally became quiet. "Why do you dislike him so much? Can you tell me about your past?" Matthew appeared out of nowhere. "I thought you would go ask. No need for me to say it." I took a close look at him, and then calmly said, he didn't avoid my gaze, but looked directly at me instead. "I thought about it, but I was afraid you would get angry, so I didn't do it." His straightforward attitude made me feel a bit petty, so I finally shared some things from my past with him. I went to pick up Kathy from kindergarten as usual. I didn't expect Liam to be waiting at the kindergarten gate. He asked me if we could talk. Liam said he had something very important to tell me. He looked a bit disheveled. Maybe my parents are trying to help me get revenge on what they did to him. Someone took action against his company. I had no choice. I had to agree to help. But just to be safe, I still brought a few bodyguards. When we got to a deserted place, he suddenly knelt down. "Evelyn, I have found out the truth. That woman was deliberately sent by Oliver to get close to me. The purpose was to sow discord between us. For Kathy's sake, let's make up. I swear, if I ever cheat again, may I never have peace." People often say that men don't cry easily, but he cried very quickly. Stop pretending. Don't cry, don't kneel. These tricks don't work on me. I'm as calm as an observer. Evelyn, our 5 years together. Even though I know you married me to make Oliver angry, but I love you, Evelyn. I truly love you, your love. Thank you very much, your love. I calmly interrupted his confession again. Seeing that I was unmoved, he snorted coldly. I know you are not Sophie. You impersonated your sister's identity. If the Sheng family finds out, your fate will be worse than mine. Then go report me. Let's see if my sister dares to confront me directly. In the past life, she impersonated my identity, enjoyed all the riches and honor, lived a carefree life. Fortunately, heaven has eyes. I learned the truth just before my death. That family has no good people. Now they even dare to fabricate rumors about me. Only Liam would be so easily deceived. Just wait. You will definitely regret it. I let out a cold laugh. What a coincidence. Oliver said the same thing. You're all the same, really. You say you love me, but in reality you are hurting me. Hit me, but don't hit too hard. Evelyn, you are being too much. How could I have ever liked someone like you? The sounds of scolding and fighting kept coming. The anger I had been holding in finally erupted. My parents have made arrangements. They will announce my identity at the upcoming banquet. I will also officially change my name to Sophie. The banquet started on time. Someone suddenly shouted. She is not the eldest daughter of the Sheng family. She is an imposter. Everyone was busy congratulating. A sudden voice interrupted. I thought it was Liam who came, but it turned out to be Oliver. What are you doing here? Although the Oliver family has power in Los Angeles here, you have no authority to give orders. Dad immediately stood up to protect me. His face was filled with anger. Uncle, have you been deceived by her? Have you done a paternity test? Of course I have. It could be fake, right? I have a paternity test here too. Would you like to see it? Dad took the document. After reading it, he looked shocked. He angrily threw the document at me. Tell me, you've been lying to me all along. You really are something. You've even managed to deceive me. I was completely confused. I picked up the document from the ground. I discovered that Oliver's love interest is actually Dad's daughter. So who am I exactly? That photo couldn't have been from my childhood. How could I possibly have it? The reporters present all raised their cameras to take pictures. Matthew stood in front of me again. I said to my uncle, Uncle, the situation is still unclear. What if this information is fake? Lily has a butterfly-shaped birthmark on her back. I was too anxious to recognize my daughter at that time. I didn't carefully confirm the birthmark. Think about it yourself. You have such a birthmark. Faced with my usually gentle mother's questioning, I answered softly, but I really didn't forge the paternity test. Mom, no. Auntie, I really didn't forge it, she said coldly. Who would believe that? The Sheng family is really unfortunate. They accepted such a fake like you. I did say that. She doesn't look like a member of the Sheng family. Everyone began to chatter and discuss. It made me feel especially embarrassed all of a sudden. That's enough. Matthew spoke up for me once again. He looked even angrier than I was. Matthew took me back home, I said. There really was no forged paternity test. I believe you. You don't need to say any more. I heard Matthew's gentle voice. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. What on earth is going on? I'll help you look into it. Stop crying. It hurts my heart just to see you. He squatted down and helped me wipe away my tears. I couldn't help but kiss him. I came back to my senses. I wanted to break free. Unexpectedly, he gained the upper hand instead. He held me half in his arms. We kissed intimately. Then he gently helped me take off my clothes. That night, we didn't sleep at all. Big sister, you're up. That's how he usually calls me. But what happened last night made me feel that this title sounds a bit awkward. I didn't even dare to look at him. Just say it. Wait until we pick up Kathy. Then I'll go back to Los Angeles. He paused his hand while making breakfast. Then he said calmly, Sister, do you not want to take responsibility? I think we really are not suitable for each other. I'm 10 years older than you, and I have a daughter. I suddenly felt a bit flustered. I stammered while speaking. He placed breakfast in front of me. Say it, I don't care about anything. I only care about you and Kathy. I want to build a home with you both. He always expresses his feelings whenever he gets the chance. Indeed, young people are full of energy. I cleared my throat. Say it. Let's not talk about this for now. I suddenly figured it out just now. Who helped me forge that paternity test report? Is that person in Los Angeles? Not here. He's in Chicago, with Matthew's assistance. I successfully caught that person, I told him. Uncle, long time no see. I stared at the big man tied up in front of me. He is my adoptive mother's useless brother. In a past life, he helped them forge the paternity test, which allowed that sister to replace me. Did you forge that paternity test? Nonsense. If I were to forge an identity, I'd definitely help my own niece. How could I help you? Clearly, you were after wealth and status, impersonating someone else's young lady. Now that you've been exposed, you want to shift the blame onto me. I don't want to say more to him. I directly took out a stack of photos. It was always him meeting with Oliver. After the matter was exposed, he immediately started to argue. I was just chatting with Oliver. What's wrong with that? Do you have any evidence to prove that I did it? See me remain silent. She again assumed the demeanor of an elder. She said gently, Evelyn, I really don't understand what you're thinking, giving up Oliver for that person. Now, while he still has feelings for you, quickly admit your mistake. That way we can all live a good life. Some people say I'm a kept man. That's quite novel. It's the first time I've heard someone call me that. Matthew lit a cigarette. He said coldly, Don't put on an act over there. You're just a freshly graduated college student. I've been in society for so many years. Dealing with you is as easy as dealing with an ant. If you were smart, you would let me go quickly. If it weren't for your numbers and power, how could I possibly be caught by you? Matthew suddenly pressed the cigarette butt against his face. Just like that, too, not long after. Half of his face was covered with scars from cigarette burns. He was rolling on the ground in pain. All his previous arrogance was gone. Please, let me go. I will talk. I will tell everything. Matthew was holding a cigarette. He said coldly, If you had cooperated earlier, it would have been fine. If you dare to lie to me, I will make you disappear forever. His expression now scares me. Oliver gave me a large sum of money to help me forge a paternity test. I don't understand why he did this. You can ask him yourself. I'm just doing my job for the money. I really don't know anything else. He kept begging for mercy. It seems he was indeed scared by Matthew. Do you believe him? Matthew looked at me. He returned to his gentle and harmless demeanor. I nodded. Go ahead. I will handle the rest myself. You don't need to worry about it, he replied. Okay. Oliver is sitting on the sofa. He looks confident. It seems he had anticipated my visit. He has finally decided to come back to me, he said. I smiled slightly. He said, making such a fuss for me. I was indeed a bit surprised. Why suddenly not want Lily anymore? She is now the young lady of the Sheng family. Hearing my somewhat sarcastic tone, he leaned down and asked, Are you jealous? I sighed helplessly in my heart. How does he have such confidence? He said, She and I are already in the past. You and I are the present. As long as you are willing to turn back, I'm willing to do anything for you. Seeing that I was silent, he added, What is unattainable is indeed the best. I have never seen you so sincere in the last life. I pushed him away. If you truly love me, you wouldn't hurt me. I originally wanted to give you a respectable identity. That way, you would seem fitting when you marry me. But you refused. And you keep getting close to that Matthew all day. That's why I took back your identity. You didn't even ask if I was willing. Stop saying you love me. Oliver, you don't deserve to say such things. I splashed the water cup on the table towards him. He angrily pulled me close to him. I don't deserve it. He does. Matthew is only young. He's not that great. I heard he was adopted, so what? I'm adopted too. We are quite compatible. I'm breathing heavily. While speaking, I broke free from his hand. He got angry. He pushed me onto the sofa. Speak. It seems I've been too lenient with you lately. Instead, you've become more and more excessive. After saying that, he leaned in wanting to kiss me. President, it's not good. The secretary rushed in with a face full of anxiety. It seems the situation is quite serious. Oliver locked me in his office. I took out my phone and asked, Did you hear that? You've already moved on. Don't think about him anymore and stop opposing me. It's pointless this way. Also, congratulations on finding your biological parents. The key to Oliver's office is behind the vase. You can go get it yourself. Lily hung up the phone. I escaped and ran into Matthew. He asked, How did you end up here? I was a bit worried about you, but you said not to worry. I was just waiting outside for you. I hugged him, feeling touched, and said, Thank you for respecting my thoughts, no matter the husband or kids. All day long, they're flirting with each other. That's really too much. Liam's voice caught the attention of those around. Why are you here again? It seems the lesson from last time hasn't taught you anything. You still think you're that lofty Miss Sheng. I knew it. You really don't seem like an impressive person at all. Liam pointed at me. He said with a look of dissatisfaction, Yeah, she's even abandoned her parents and sister. Just thinking about pretending to be the daughter of a rich family. This daughter really was a waste to raise. It seems Liam called their whole family here. Their cries for help successfully turned me into a vain and ruthless woman. I thought this matter would cause a huge uproar, but in the end, there was not a peep. I asked, "Is it you who suppressed it? Yes, will you blame me? The Oliver family has collapsed. Liam is dead. My adoptive parents are also missing. These things, did you do this? I did it. But Liam's death was an accident. He fell while trying to escape." I looked at Matthew and asked, "Who exactly are you?" Matthew is 25 this year. He is already married, he has a daughter, and he is also the master of the Dark Door.